What's up, Yetis? It's Nathan here with Yeti Gaming. Today we are here with Noah. Noah just did super well this whole past week. He won the OTS championship here at the store and got second at the St. Peter's Regional that was just this past weekend. And he's going to showcase the deck that he played. I'm going to step out and let Noah take over.
Howdy everyone. So I played Yubel Fiendsmith at both events. Same deck list, did not change anything. Most of it's pretty standard with a little bit of extra spice that I threw in there myself. So first and foremost, we have 3 Samsara D Lotus, the primary starter for the Yubel engine. We have 2 Spirit, 1 Yubel, and I did play the Brick. I did play the Terra Incarnate. I liked the additional extension off being able to pop my Yubel. And now that the fusion's out, it's not as much of a brick if you open it. You can just contact fuse it back from your hand. The rest of the Yubel engine, I played 2 Gruesome Grave Squirmer. Not as important to have 3 now that we have the Fiendsmith engine. If you're missing it or your Nightmare Pain gets interrupted, you can get to it another way. I played 1 Nightmare Pain and 1 Mature Chronicle. I used to play 2 of this, but with the Spirit Gates engine, you can actually add this back if it gets removed from field. And I really liked the Mature Chronicle effect. The first and second effects to special summon 1 from grave or add a banished card back was really good. At one of my games against Stun, I made an SP Little Knight, banished one of their cards, and then it got destroyed, and so I bestialed it out of the grave and then used the second effect to add it back to my extra deck and then banish another card. We played 3 Nightmare Throne, 1 Terraforming. Another thing I did this weekend was I used Nightmare Throne to play around Joel and Lockbird. I used the effect to pop from deck. I would pop a Spirit, which would then float into a Yubel, and then contact fuse them both off for a Phantom before I started any of my plays. And oftentimes that was enough to beat the only hand trap they had, especially if it was Droll. So that's it for the Yubel engine. For the Beckoning Beast engine, we played 3 Beckoning Beast, 1 Summoning Beast, and 3 Gates. I wanted to maximize my chances of drawing this in as many games as possible. Seeing this by itself, uninterrupted, can bridge you to the Yubel cards with the Spirit Gates and the Fiendsmith cards. So this is basically your whole deck. This is bread and butter, and I think these are actually the sleeper cards of the deck. I think they're the best actual stuff. For the Fiendsmith engine, we played 3 Engraver, 1 Tract, and 1 Lurie. Pretty standard. I only really got to use Tract 3 or 4 times. Most of the time I was just going into a Beckoning Beast, but when I saw it, it was fantastic. Also, a lot of people don't pay attention to the Tract Graveyard effect to fuse, and it allows you to maybe get out the fusion before they are able to commit to a hand trap on like a sequence. I played the Unchained engine, which in the main deck is the Trap and the Sharvara. I decided to play the Reborn over the Pop because I oftentimes would link a Link 2 and the Rage into an Apollousa for 2, and then be able to revive the Soul of Rage on the opponent's turn so that it's not as vulnerable to something like a Dark Ruler no more. And then we get to the non-engine. I played 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Droll, 3 Imperm, 2 Mourner, and 1 Called By. I really liked main deck Droll for this event. It's a St. Peter's regional, so there's a lot of Rogue, and this card is just fantastic. I was expecting a lot of White Forest. I know a lot of players that play the deck locally, and this card's really good against White Forest because their whole deck searches. The Called By is Called By, and it's the best card in the game. I beat Shifter with it twice and won me the match instantly. So that does it for the main deck. Over to the extra deck here. Very standard, I think. The Fiendsmith stuff, Moon, Requiem, Sequence, stuff like that. We have Unchained, Yama, and Rage. We have Little Knight, which is the best card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, honestly. Link Force, I played Access Code Talker and Apollousa. A lot of people play the Fiendsmith Fusion, the Desiree. I decided to play Access Code Talker instead. I found I was having a really hard time closing out games, or I just could not put enough damage on board if they did not control a monster for my Yubels to do the damage reflection. So I put access code in. You're only usually making it with a Link 2 here because you don't really have a good Link 3 target for it in the deck or at all. But 4,300 off this plus like an Aerial Eater or a Varudris is usually enough to close out the game. For the fusions, I played 1 Lacrima, 1 Princess, 1 Aerial Eater, 2 Phantoms. I think 2 Phantom is fine. I don't think there's a real reason to play more than 3. I think your extra deck space is too tight. Aerial Eater, I think, is the best card in this deck, at least for the extra. This allows you to bridge between the Fiendsmith engine and the Yubel engine very easily, and then it's a 6, which matters because it, the Necroquip, the Lacrima, and the Engraver are all 6s for the Wave King. This card is insane. Solemn Warning basically twice, not a once per turn, and 2800 stat line means it's very difficult to just run over. You're not going to really be able to out this easily without a board breaker or something. And then the last card in my extra was the Varudris. This only came up maybe 2 or 3 times. You're not usually getting to this unless you just completely go off interrupted. It is really good against Tenpai if they do not open Forbidden Droplet. This allows you to check a board breaker, and then potentially, if they have missequenced their plays, you can pop the Sengan Summoning, which can be a problem for this deck, but I don't know if you all know this, but the Phantom of Yubel actually changes a monster effect to be Destroy a Yubel card, so this allows you to negate Tenpai monsters under Sengan Summoning because you're changing the effect, not actually negating it. So that's it for the extra. For the side deck, I played 3 Moltrami Perulia. I played a Bestial package of 1 Magnemite, 2 Druisworm. I played triple evenly matched. This card was really good for me. I don't think players are respecting it this format because there's just not a lot of Omni Negates floating around. You have the Fiendsmith guy that can negate it, and then you have like Varudris in the mirror match. But if you can bait out that interruption, this is usually a board breaker that just clears everything. I played 2 talents and 2 thrusts. The thrust being able to search the talents or the evenly, as well as terraforming in the main deck was really helpful. And then I played 2 targets for the thrust, which was Dimensional Barrier and Harpy's Feather Duster. The D-Barrier came up a lot against Tenpai. In one of my matches in Game 2, we had a hand trap battle, and I was able to thrust for this and live a turn. We go into Game 3, they shifter me, I don't have thrust, but I hard drew the D-Barrier, so I made like a basic board, set the D-Barrier, and then I flipped this, and they're like, oh, you hard drew it? And I'm like, yeah, I did, I'm sorry. This card, egregious, should be banned. And then Feather Duster is Feather Duster. My round 1 opponent was playing Runick Stun, and they went Hugin, set 3 pass, and I'm like, I drew this for turn, impermed the Hugin, Feather Dustered them, and then they conceded. So I'm like, yep, that is how the stun matchups go. Sometimes you just get lucky. So that does it for the side deck. And that's it for this. Just, some shout-outs here at the end. Shout out to Yeti Gaming, not only for being the greatest store in St. Louis to play card games at, but also for signing my paychecks. We also have everybody that is in all my group chats that helps me test. We got the Tears Every Night Discord chat. We have the Yeti Gaming Discord. We have all my messenger group chats with all my friends that support me. Shout out to my testing partner, Ian Parrish, who I drag kicking and screaming into playing this game. They'll take breaks, and I'll be like, hey, Yu-Gi-Oh's fun. You should come play it. I'm like, no, it's not. And then I'll be like, come play Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I get them addicted, and we test every night. So, other than that, I guess shout out my folks for always supporting me, driving me to Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments since I was like 13 years old. And other than that, that's going to do it for us here. Shout out Yeti Gaming. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, x.com, YouTube. Check us out on our website, yetigaming.com. And come visit us in store. We got some exciting news coming about that, so you'll have to stay tuned. Thank y'all, guys.